Good evening. It's 6 p.m., so I call this meeting of the Water Commission for Tuesday, March 23rd to order. Roll call shows that all commissioners are here, and we have one vacancy, so all the other four are here today, everybody else. So would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizen comment period. Do we have anybody signed up? Nobody signed up. So going on to number 5, business items. 5A1 is approvals. This is minutes of the January 26, 2021 Water Commission meeting. You all got the chance to look at them. Any corrections to what's in your packet? Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 26th.
Okay. I have a motion to approve. Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote passes. Okay. Now we go on to discussion reports and updates. 5B1 is Water Manager's Monthly Activity Report. Mr. Parsons, would you review your activity report?
Yes, thank you. So there's a lot to report because February was a heck of a month. We'll get into the, let's first turn to the second page with the water loss. You could see in January we had some insufficient data, and what happened was when we were going from the old meters to the new meters, when we were able to put it in, the data that we were getting for the readings, it didn't give us an accurate percentage of water loss. So what we did was that the month before was 11.9, and it was giving us around 20% water loss. We looked for leaks, found none. And in February, since there was no leaks that were repaired, we still had 11.7%. So we know that that data was off. So I want to point that out. Also, we had 14 new meters installed. That number's gone up. We have all but 5 meters installed for our AMI system. Those meters are waiting on the curb stop to be repaired. We found some that had curb stops that were broken, so if we were to take out the meter, it would continue to rush water. So we have to dig down, repair that, and then put those meters in. So we're hoping in the next week or two we could have those finished and finalized. Also, that being said, the AMI system that we have has, we ordered brass meters and they were offered brass meters. Since then, the company has decided that they are no longer going to make brass meters. This is a worldwide decision. They make meters for all over the world. But since their explanation is that since they have different standards for brass all over the world and they have to keep meeting all these different standards, they have decided to not make brass. They'll just make stainless steel meters for all sizes in a metallic meter base. And once they do that, then that's what we'll have. So some concerns arise from that, which are, well, how is that going to change our cost of meters and stuff like that? Well, we've already negotiated with them. The brass meters will be guaranteed for 20 years. If anything happens to the meters, then they will be replaced at the cost with a stainless steel meter with no cost to us. Also, when it comes to purchasing new meters for the next 2 years, we can buy up to 100 stainless steel meters at no increased charge. So it'll be at the same charge as a brass meter. So we were able to negotiate that as well. We have found some meters that we've had to replace the meter bases on the meter itself. The metallic has been messed up or whatever. So we've had to send those, we're sending those back and we're getting new stainless steel meters. Now in that process that they're going from brass to stainless steel, They don't have that stainless steel manufacturing for those sizes yet. So we've put in polymer meters, which we will continue to have in the ground until the stainless steel meters are available. Then those will be replaced free of charge. There is no charge to us. So we get to have the polymer meters until those are readily available. Once we have them, we'll put them in the ground. With that, we'll go into the project announcements. The Whispering Oaks project has been going on for a really long time. We are waiting on as-built. We've been waiting on them for a while. I talked with the developer, the engineers, our engineers, and we all got on the same page. We were hoping to see those by now. We just have not seen those, but that's basically all we're waiting for. As soon as we get those as-built, we'll do a final inspection, and then that project will be complete. The workflow management system we're getting really close to, it's implemented right now. We're just working through a few bugs. As we were talking about the AMI project, there's 5 meters that are left to be installed. The wastewater project is ongoing. If you have been down Naco Loop, that's where they are right now. They started at the corner of Door Lane and Naco Loop, and they are headed the long way down Naco Loop towards Winco, and they will put that line in first, and then once they have that in, they're going to bore across 2252, and they'll lay that line. We are just on that first stretch of road. They're getting their legs underneath them for this project, but they're doing a decent job. They're doing a good job. I've been out there many times to inspect them, and they're laying it properly. TxDOT water line, we are working on funding, and as soon as we have that and the council makes decisions, that will move forward with TxDOT. Also to let you know, I think some of you may already know that Chris Graff has resigned from his position, and we also added another individual, Robert Mann. He has come on board. Did I mention that last time? I don't remember. But Robert Mann has come on board, and we are training him right now. That being said, also a bit of news. I have also put in my retirement for the city of Garden Ridge. I've been doing municipal work for 21 years, and I'm retiring from municipal government. So I just want to let you guys know, and I really appreciate it. As far as the COVID goes, everything is status quo. We are still doing everything we need to do to stay clean and take all necessary precautions, wearing masks and keeping distance. With that, we have some information on the back of the report, which I will talk to in our next item.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. And also sad to see you go too. You know, you've been here for almost 2 years now, and you've done a great job, and we appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So starting on my right, any questions, comments?
No questions, just I echo Chairman, sad to see you go, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with you, and you have done a tremendous job, and wish you the best.
Thank you.
Hopefully it's not too soon.
It'll be a 30 days.
Mr. Parsons, I hate to see you go as well. Congratulations on retirement. I appreciate everything you've done for me and helped educate me on stuff as we've gone along since I've been on the commission, so thank you.
Absolutely.
You know, I can never get this thing to work. Oh. All I can do is echo everyone else's comments and wish you the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob, for all your time here. Appreciate everything. I did actually have a question, though. I can't let you off the hook that easy.
No, that's fine.
For the wastewater project boring under 2252, there's not going to be any problems with the 2252 work that they're doing or anything. There's not going to be a conflict like there is with the water lines or anything.
With the widening of the road?
Yes.
Correct, yeah. Our engineers that are developing that plan for that are also have developed the wastewater. So they've already gotten permits from TxDOT, so that's all been reviewed.
Thank you. I just had to check.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you.
I also have one question on the wastewater, question mark, clarification. I think I heard that the tank itself, the 18,000 gallon tank, has been relocated from the original proposed site. Could you just mention that to the rest of the group?
Correct. So, I wish I had a picture for you. I apologize for not having that. So the location was down on Door Lane, right at the railroad tracks, is where the tank was originally positioned. We actually had some property that we were able to utilize. It's going to be right on the corner. So if you're going down the loop towards Winco, right there on the corner where Winco is, that's where the tank will be relocated now, right back towards the railroad tracks, right in there.
City property, so we don't have to spend any money on buying property. That's
Correct.
Thank you, good. Okay, just want to share everybody know that too. Okay, next topic is the winter weather emergency. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Oh, what a doozy. So the winter storm we prepared for was, I said this at council, was a winter in Texas, a winter storm in Texas, not one in Minnesota. And so we did a lot of prepping, we checked generators, we did a lot of stuff making sure that things were good. We started getting calls at the beginning of or at the end of the week because our transducer lines were freezing, we were thawing them out, constantly trying to keep things going. We were also taking calls. We had guys that were staying all night. Dwayne actually stayed all night, a couple nights, several nights. He also helped field a lot of calls. Chris did as well. I also did, as well as Public Works. We all worked together to make sure that the water system was going. We fielded about 94 customers' calls, and that's not including all the calls that we went out and found and we just took care of. That being said, we also were inundated with calls from customers that went to our call service, our after-hours call service. It was so inundated that we weren't getting phone calls, so the administration staff took it upon themselves to 24/7 take the calls that were coming in. So they were relaying information to us, and then we were dealing with the issues as they came up. Understand that they were at home, and they also had issues with power and water, and they were having to go to their car and charge their phone, their cell phone, just to keep going. And so I really admire everything everyone did. Miss Nancy was on the phone constantly, along with Mayor, trying to figure out how we're going to get power and what's going on with the power situation, why our city well sites and the police station didn't have power, so they were working hard there. Everyone was pitching in. Even PD was making us food. I had commissioners and council members that asked if we needed any help and what we needed, and I really appreciate it. Along with that, our mayor came out and helped side by side work with us until we were able to get everything restored. And this is on the tails of not feeling so well. And he was out there every day with us for hours and hours and hours. So I want to say thank you to everyone that pitched in and everyone that helped. We also had a watering station for people that needed water, that couldn't get water because of their lines being frozen. We were able to set that up. Stephen was headed that up. And there was a lot of hands that helped, that made our water situation a success. Without everyone helping, it would not have been. We would have been like many other cities that were in a boil water notice. So I just want to say a big, big, big thank you to everyone. Without them, this would not have been a success. With that, I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Yes, I echo that. I appreciate for all the city staff. I know getting, handling the after-hours service calls. I know you didn't have power either. So I talked to Marissa during that week, and she told me what everybody else was doing. I thank you to Public Works for stepping in and being of extra help. So like everybody's trained to handle everything. And, it's amazing that we have four well sites. I mean, the city council has done a great job over the years to establish everything we have for the water system and maintain water, and obviously it worked. We didn't lose water supply to any resident. Yes, we have problems at the residents, but at least the city provided the water. We didn't have to go into boil requirements, things like that. So I applaud the city and everybody involved to get the equipment to where we got it. Yeah, we have problems, but I know you'll be working on some countermeasures to prevent those from happening again in the future, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll start over. Mr. Haldeman, you have any questions, comments?
I can't say it any better than that. Thank you all.
No comments.
Great job, thank you.
Just echo, terrific. Was blissfully ignorant of much of it, so thank you so much, because that means that the city was in good shape.
Yeah, some of y'all may not have seen, but during the city council meeting, the pictures of everything was shared during city council meeting of all the equipment failures, breakage, valves. That, we had a, what, 8 or 10 inch valve?
8-inch.
8-inch valve, valve that was cracked at the 8, 9, 10 well site over here on Schoenthal. I mean, chlorine tubing failures, things like that. So, y'all kept that going, so thank y'all. Okay. Moving on to item 3 now. So it's item 5B3. Sorry, let me push it off. Items applicable to the Water Commission discussed at the February and March City Council meeting. For the February City Council meeting, the leak adjustment request for 9419 Garden Bend. City Council agreed by consensus to direct city staff to notify the requester that City Council would like them to contact AT&T and Total Lawn Care to discuss possible relief options from both companies and table any action for the recommendation until additional information is provided. City Council did approve the Water Commission's recommendation to credit the water leak adjustment for 19907 Wildcrest for $2,508.92. The vote was 3-2. It's a close vote. I also presented the council the year-end review of the 2020 Water Commission projects. Okay. For the March City Council meeting, I didn't have a report since we didn't meet in February, just because we couldn't get the packets or anything together for having a meeting. It was just coming out of the freeze. There was no way to organize a meeting at that time. So anyway, we skipped that, but I want to at least cover what City Council did cover. They approved Resolution 471, which addressed large water leaks, the large number of water leaks that occurred to our customers during the sub-freezing weather we experienced. City Council voted unanimously to provide relief to all Garden Ridge Water Company customers by capping the water the rate at Tier 2. So 475 for inside sea limits, 689 for outside sea limits. That's basically an authorized across-the-board leak adjustment. Okay, that provided all customers with the maximum credit for that billing period of January 22nd through February 22nd for 2021. Okay, as you recall, we recommended to use Tier 2 water rates back at last year, so it was approved by City Council in December meeting. There were 159 customers that had water usage above 25,000 gallons. So they received, all those 159 customers received a reduced water bill. Discount ranged from $9.80, that was for a 30,000 gallon water usage, to over $2,000 for someone who used 185,000 gallons. Total credits were around 15,000. But anyway, the remaining 1,500 customers averaged 9,000 gallons during that period. So a big thank you to city staff and to council for this work. I can't imagine if the water company had to deal with 159 leak adjustments, and then go back to over here. This was the best thing you could do. And I believe the water leaks could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for the AMI system. I know you had, over 500 alarms that you tended to. Some of those were just, water dripping, but you still had to attend to them. So I think the AMI system really was a big help. Let's see here. City Administrator, anything to add?
No, sir.
Mayor Thompson, anything to add? Mr. Parsons, anything else to add on
Yeah, I guess one quick thing, we had a few people that have filed for water leak adjustments in the February timeframe. Once I explained, they perhaps didn't see the Water Commission meeting and they didn't understand. So once I explained that we had already given a water leak adjustment, most of them were okay. A couple of them were still uncertain of why we couldn't give more, but that's something that I was able to approve. So I approved 3 water leak adjustments in February for $0 and 0 cents because they already got a water leak adjustment. So anything that they wanted further than that, they would have to come before the Water Commission. So that's just, so hopefully we're not having any water leak adjustments next month because they've already been granted.
Any commissioners, any questions? On my left?
I thought of one question after bringing this up. Obviously, there's a decrease in revenue, and I assume there's a big increase in cost with all the leaks and everything that happened in February. Or are we going to get numbers on that? Do we know what that looks like? Are we concerned about it?
We don't have as far as water department, as far as cost for the water department?
Yes, sir.
Repairs?
I assume that there's a lot of infrastructure repairs clearly that need to be done. Are we in a financial problem, I guess, is my bottom line question.
Yes, we're working on that. We're getting numbers together right now. We're still trying to figure out getting all the repairs done, and once we have that figure, then we can get it to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And there could be some other changes and maybe upgrades that to help you prevent in the future too, that will be looked at for a future, right? So, okay. Thank you. Okay, going on to recommendations, 5C, and remind, so we're getting to water leak adjustments. We have 3 to look at tonight. I remind that by law, the Water Commission does not have the authority to grant any financial credits. The Water Commission can only make recommendations to either city administrator to take actions for credits up to $500 or recommend the city council to take action for credits above $500. I'll follow the same process that we do in previous meetings. So the first one, item 5C1, request for water leak adjustment for 21032 Cedar Branch for the billing period of November 23rd, 2020 to December 22nd, 2020. Mr. Parsons, would you please review the request, what you found, and your recommendations?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We determined that there was a 98,000 gallon leak over 3 billing periods. We found the leak after reading the meters because it was abnormally high. After notifying the customer, they tried to get a plumber to come out and fix the leak, but it was going to take several days due to the Christmas holiday. They were able to locate and repair the leak themselves, and all the required paperwork has been turned in, and they are eligible for an adjustment. They actually, when I talked to them, they said they went out there and they just started shovel and pick and trying to figure out because they could not find it. It had not surfaced. And finally, when they found it, they were so delighted, and they were able to make the repair. But they actually turned their water off for a while, so they weren't going to waste water. So,
Understand that y'all went out, the water company went out to tell them after reading the meters that time that they had a water problem, they had a leak.
correct.
And and y'all walked, and I think Dwayne walked around with them and couldn't find anything, obviously.
Correct. This was before our AMI meters.
This one, yeah. So I do applaud the petitioner for taking immediate action and shutting off the water, only getting into, using it when they needed to until they resolve the problem. And they actually dug themselves instead of waiting for a plumber since it was over the Christmas holidays to find that leak. I think they found it 2.5 feet down in my notes. So it took them a while to find it. So they saved a lot of money by doing the work themselves. So anyway, any questions for Mr. Parsons, starting on my left? Mr. Mueller?
No, sir, no questions.
Carmichael?
No questions.
No, sir.
No questions on this one.
Okay. Okay. So, again, just to review you said 89,000 gallon leak over 3 billing periods, but now when I looked at the data that you provided us, the first billing period and the third don't actually qualify because it was it was 15,000 gallons for that
Correct.
month, so there's no way to get a credit. So it's really only the middle one for this period here. So it's the one that's showing up there on top, right? Yeah. is a credit. So, any further discussions, or do I get a motion? Go ahead. Whoever wants to go.
I move to approve the recommendations of the water manager on 21032 Cedar Branch and give the occupant the credit request, $847.08.
Okay. So that's to recommend to city council a credit for $847.00 per the water manager's recommendation. Got a first by Dr. Carmichael. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Okay, thank you. I move on to 5C2, request for water leak adjustment for 8289 Eskimo Forest for the billing period of November 23rd, 2020 to November 22nd, to December 22nd, 2020. Mr. Parsons, would you please cover this?
Yes, sir, thank you. At 8289 Eskimo Forest, we received a water leak adjustment request on January 15th, 2021. That's the last day that they were eligible to turn it in. And there was a leak that was on the irrigation side of the main valve. We were unable to get the data, gather the data, because the customer's meter time only goes back so far with history, and we were unable to get that data in time. So the customer sent in the repair for the documentation, and there's no leak at this time. So there was a leak. We could tell there was a leak we assume there's a leak because of their historical water use, but there was no hard evidence based on a laptop reading, but there is no leak present at this time. There's some possible adjustments that if the commission was wanting to grant a leak adjustment, that they could look at the data and then we could adjust it based on some of the historical data that we have. And as you know, if we do not have, as a water company, don't have the data, we have to bring you the case. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any questions for Mr. Parsons? All right.
Yeah, on the two potential credit amounts, I was having a little hard time following where they came from. I was wondering if you could talk through that in a little bit more detail.
Yes. So if you go to their historical use, you can see that historically the largest sum of water that they consumed in the past on that chart was 60,000 gallons. So that is the second possible, or the one to the right, the 60,000 consumer consumption. And then the 26,000 consumer consumption was the same month a year ago from that period of time, I believe. 11, 23, 21. Where am I looking at? 11 to 12. Yeah, it was, I think it was in the, oh, I'm sorry. So the 26,000 gallons was the maximum that they could consume because of the tier 2. So with tier 2, they would have to use over 25,000 gallons in order to be eligible for a rebate, a leak adjustment anyways. So that's where the 26,000 came from.
Question from Mr. Parsons on my left?
Just so I'm clear, all the reporting time frame was done properly, right? The customer reported the leak before the due date on that, right? I just wanted to make sure of that.
Yes, they did. So we tried to give them enough. So when the commission decided to grant water leak adjustments and give them a time to turn in the documentation, We tried to split the baby, if you will. We wanted to give them enough time to put it in, but we also need enough time to get the data. It just fell right there perfectly where we were unable to get the data in time.
Understood, thank you.
But now that we have an AMI system,
And that, the AMI meter on this case went in after
correct,
after that billing period, right? Yeah.
correct.
Dr. Carmichael, any questions? Commissioner Mueller?
No questions.
Okay. I know the petitioner is here, and any questions for her?
I'd like to hear what the request is, yes.
Okay. Is the mic on?
Oh,
up
right
there,
here, ma'am.
back,
Sorry.
back.
You're good.
This is my co-counsel. It's my dad.
Pass that bill around so they can see the graph.
It's Exhibit A.
I think we have the bill.
You got a graph?
Well, my name is Gail Gitcho. I live at 8289 Eskimo Forest. And about the second week of December, my neighbor came over and he told me that he thought that I might have a leak from my sprinkler system because his water was flooding, or his yard was really wet in the back, and he was about to do some work back there and said he couldn't do it if it was too wet. So immediately I called the landscaper that I had been using, and he came out as soon as he could, and he found that there was a leak in a faulty valve on the main irrigation thing. So he fixed it, and then the leak stopped. And the only way that we knew that it was a faulty valve is because in the garage I have a water leak, or excuse me, a sprinkler system control. And you couldn't shut off the leak by turning it completely off. So that's how we knew that there was a faulty valve. So I paid for the labor and for the new part, and then it didn't leak anymore. And so as soon as I figured that out, the landscaper was very concerned that my water bill was going to be high. So I called City Hall and I said, what do I do about this? Because I'm going to have a giant bill. And I was directed to document what had happened. And then I talked to them about the bill. And I mean, if you just take a look at the December month, it's, off the charts, literally, and none of my other water usage has been nearly that high. So what I'm asking is for a credit for this billing period.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any further questions? Go back.
So the process that we normally look at is based upon reducing the bill by removing the additional charge that corresponds to the conservation incentive, and that's why they talk about using tier 2 rates. Was that explained to you, that process? No. So bottom line is the potential recommendation here is a credit based on the historical usage pattern, but the 26,000 gallons is kind of tied to that tier 2 amount. Is that in line with what you're requesting?
No, I'm requesting an additional credit.
Of how much?
Well, my bill is currently $2,752. And
The water portion of that is $26.56.
$26.56, right,
The water
okay.
portion, yeah.
Yeah, so it's nearly $2,700. So I guess my question, before I could answer your question, really is, what does the tier 2 mean, and why is that rule applicable to my situation, given the evidence and the cause? And
That's the way the ordinance is written, is that you have to pay for the water itself. Everybody needs to charge for the water. The cost of water is actually at tier 2 rate. Above that is a kind of a conservation incentive. So we can reduce the water rate for that, just like we did on Resolution 471 for the weather leak, for the winter emergency. Everybody was charged at that tier 2 rate. So that's the most credit we can give you per the ordinance. So
And just to be clear, that this is a significant reduction in the bill. I'm not sure if that's coming across the way we're phrasing it or not. It certainly doesn't knock out the whole bill, and please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We're looking at two adjustment values to take into account. They're both significant deductions from the total bill. Was that clear, or?
Yeah, again, the way the ordinance is written is that the customer that has a leak, no matter what it is, you pay for the cost of the water. And that water is charged at tier 2 rates. So
Right, I understand. So if I wanted to change this, then the ordinance would need to be changed.
Correct.
Yeah.
And, we can't recommend anything besides what the ordinance says.
Right.
So,
And so then, is there another process?
well then, because it's over $500, it has to go to city council.
Right,
So all we do is make a recommendation on an amount, and then it goes to city council for the April meeting. And then city council, it'll be presented to city council as a recommendation, and city council makes the final decision on that.
okay,
So we can't actually give you credit.
Right.
We can recommend a credit, that's all we can do. So,
understood.
Okay. So there's several options there that Mr. Parsons has recommended. There are two options. It's how you want to look at it. Obviously, it was a leak just from the record. We have no laptop readings to actually quantify what it is. But, so we have to go by an option. We've done different ways over the year, depending on what is, what kind of averages we've done. So I'll leave it up to y'all to take action.
I think it's safe looking at the historical usage for this customer. I think it makes sense to use the first possible the one on the left-hand side as we're all looking at it there, the $1,800 adjustment. I think that makes more sense than anything else, and I'm ready to make a motion on that unless anybody else wants to discuss it further.
Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Mueller to go with $1,839.72. Recommend a credit to City Council. Do I have a second?
Would you repeat those amounts? That's confusing me from what I'm looking at here. Just to make sure I'm thinking
Yeah.
correctly. Am I looking at the right one?
You're looking at, it should be this one, yeah.
So and you quoted which amount on there?
Yeah.
That's the credit back.
1,839. Well, this is an updated one. You should have.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at an old one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he updated this one and gave it, it should be a hard copy there.
Okay.
So probably on top there.
It wasn't matching mine,
Yeah.
so I apologize.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
Second.
You second it? Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of recommending the city council to credit this petitioner $1,839.72? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Like I said, it will be presented to city council next month, and encourage you to be there if you can in case they ask any questions for you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Can I ask a question on?
Nope, nope,
So what
nope.
triggers tier 2, just for my own information? How many gallons is that?
25,000 gallons. Anything above 25,000 gallons.
Okay, so in July of that, if you go to the chart.
But you have to have a leak. You have to have a
Okay.
leak,
But
sir.
what is July? What does that indicate? Is that over tier 2? That's my question. I'm just comparing the.
Yeah, it's 60,000.
So that'd be tier 2 then? Yeah. So
Yes.
that's the highest she's ever used.
Right,
That's, okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, that's a tier, 35 is tier 3, 45 is tier 4, so it goes up every 10,000 gallons. You can go to the ordinance online, or you can find, it's online where you can find the rates for different tiers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving on to, put the mic on back on before I get in trouble. 5C3, request for water leak adjustment for 9413 Blazing Star Trail for the billing period of June 22nd, 2020 to August 24th, 2020. Mr. Parsons, would you please tell us about this request, what you found, and your recommendations?
Yes, sir, thank you. We were informed by the customer that they had a water bill that was higher than they were used to. We found that there was a water use that was consistent with irrigation use and a consistent use that was intermittently went back to 0 gallons an hour. We were unable to determine that there was a leak and asked for more information. At the time reviewing the case, we were informed that there was no leak and no leak had been repaired. This was from the customer. After closing the case, requesting that the Water Commission, after closing the case, it was requested that the Water Commission review the case for the customer found a leak in the irrigation system, but waited for funds to get it repaired. That's why it's taken so long to come to you today. The customer has indicated that the repairs were made and their current water use indicates there is no leak currently. And we made a possible adjustment based on the information we did have of a possible credit of $546.80. And there's other ways we can look at that if we want to look at that. But this is the kind of a standard consumption from historical use, that 23,000 gallons of customer consumption.
Okay. So what I read as I went through the material is that the petitioner had the water softener checked out, no problems. Had the American leak detector checked for leaks, and determined that it was the incoming pressure was high and needed to replace the pressure regulating valve, and also that the irrigation system did not hold pressure, confirming that there was a leak somewhere in the system. And notice that there were 2 repair bills for the irrigation system, one on July 24th, 2020, and one on December 22nd, 2020. So now I'll turn over to, those are just my comments from what I read. So I go to commissioners for questions, comments. I know the petitioner is here if we have any questions, so.
Yes, sir. To me, they did their due diligence early on. They called the leak company out. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that information helped that much at the time, but that set the ball rolling, and they were on top of this the whole time. So I appreciate what they've done, and what they had to work with through this leak detection company. And unfortunately, again, I'm not sure that was the right answer, but not on.
Well, they did tell them that there was a problem with the pressure. The leak company did tell them that there was a problem with the pressure PRV valve, and that there was a leak in the irrigation line. So they did tell them something. They didn't solve the problem. They just identified.
Yeah, the PRV valve kind of took me back for a loop on that.
Well,
yeah. I mean that.
It may not have been a result. It may not have caused a leak.
Yeah.
But
it's good to have anyway.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
but I think they've done everything
Okay.
perfectly correct here.
Okay. Dr. Carmichael, questions, comments? No? Understand, I was there too, all weekend. Commissioner Mueller, any questions at this point, or?
No questions.
Mr. Harshberg?
No questions.
Do we have any questions for the petitioners, or are you ready to make a motion?
I think I'm good.
Okay. How about y'all? On my left, any reason to question the petitioner? I think they've, like you said, they've done a good job doing that. All we have to do is decide, the water manager recommends adjustment already. So we can just go with that, or unless you have something else to recommend.
I mean, I'm not missing anything here, right? There was a leak. They eventually found the leak and repaired the leak, right?
Correct. And just by the records of consumption, yes, 87,000 was the largest. Then it goes back down. After that, it went to 25,000. Actually, I asked Michelle to provide me historical data past 87,000, and it goes down from 25 down to 8, 11, 6, 6, and 10. So the problem was repaired, obviously. So, yeah.
I have one question of Jacob. They said in here that at one point that the water may have flowed backwards to the meter and caused an increase in the reading. I didn't know if the meter will record additional water or does it back off when water runs the wrong way?
So both our new meters and our old meters, if water goes backwards through the meter, it will reduce. It won't increase.
That's what I thought.
But usually when that happens, it's very little. It's because it's a closed system and hot water heat expands, and it usually goes back, but it comes back and forth. Yeah, it's usually very minimal. And I would like to add that we believe that the issue was in the irrigation system, and it's hard for us to quantify how much water is lost in the irrigation system. So what is up there is just a possible recommendation. That is not the water company's recommendation. That's just something that for you guys to have a base to start with.
And thanks, Mr. Parsons. That's kind of what I was getting at with the hot water and the the expansion tank acceptance volume is only like 5 gallons, and even if it were overpressurized, even if it was pushing 5 gallons back out, that's not going to add up to the tens of thousands of gallons in losses. So it definitely seemed to me like it was an irrigation leak. Pretty straightforward.
For clarification, the water heater tank expansion tanks on the water heater are replaced. They're required to be replaced or installed if a new PRV valve is installed. So most plumbers will not change the PRV without checking those out. So that's the only reason those got changed out. So.
Oh, and they're definititely good to have.
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
just
I
don't
agree.
think they
Yeah,
had
no,
anything to do with the
no, it just didn't have anything to
water
do with that.
usage.
And I can't see a PRV backflowing either, so, from my experience. You probably agree. There's no way, a pressure of PRV is gonna fail, it's not gonna reduce pressure, and that's it. I don't think it'll backflow. That's about it. It's the only options you have. So, anyway, like I said, from the consumption readings, there was a leak. You showed the excessive, on the laptop readings, but you can't quantify how much the leak. So you just threw an example out there. And this was back in July, so the maximum we could give is anything is over 15,000 gallons, so consumption. So there's not gonna be much difference, basically. So.
I like the numbers that he has on here. It's based on, it's the hottest month, but that's pretty consistent from what the customers used in the past. I think it is a good estimate.
Yeah, that's the same thing that was used the previous year. Okay. So can I get a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to recommend to City Council to make a leak adjustment in the amount of $546.80 for 9413 Blazing Star.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, you have a motion and a second to recommend to City Council to credit the petitioner $546.80. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This will go to City Council also next month. So, okay, same process as mentioned earlier. It'll go to City Council. Okay, thank y'all. So now we go on to item 5C4, which is discuss and make possible recommendations regarding a leak adjustment policy or really process Vice Chair Harshberger requested this item on the agenda. And what I did is in your packet, I typed up the process that I've been using, kind of what we follow today, in that, you know, of course, I always remind all commissioners that, you know, we don't have the authority to grant credit. All we can do is make recommendations. But then the water manager first provides a review of the request, what was found, and his recommendations. Of course, I ask y'all for comments, questions. And if you have questions for the petitioner, I see the petitioner's here. Now, one thing I'll note is that because of the COVID precautionary, you know, period that we've been allowing phone calls to be an option. Those will go away if, you know, if anything changes there, okay? And then I'll usually provide a summary like I've done of what I heard and everything, and then ask for recommendations. So I guess I'm looking for what changes y'all would like to see in this process, or if you want to table this till the new chairman comes in next month.
I do have one quick question for Commissioner Harshberger. Is this what you were looking for? Was this,
Yeah,
I thought this was more about, I thought you were more about the calculations and how we were doing those rather than the procedures.
Is that what you're?
Well, I mean, both are, since we're doing the ordinance 54 rewrite
Right.
anyway, both are relevant, but I was looking more for trying to address the concerns that have been expressed in the commission about the consistency and what sorts of standards are applied for, you know, using historical data. I think most of the ones we get are ones where there's either not good data or sometimes it's just because of the amount, right? Those aren't really controversial. But the ones where the data is questionable, and then we kind of hunt around for a rationale, and even today it changed a little bit with the tier 2 versus tier 1, and it's not always clear, you know, what we're using. And that's going to be the case because that's why you have a commission, right, is to do the fact finding. But I'm interested in what sorts of ways that we can put a little bit more structure maybe and a little bit less, you know, ad hoc discussion. I don't know if that's possible. I don't think we'll solve it tonight. But for instance, I personally would like more voice for the petitioner as well as more responsibility for the petitioner as far as what, you know, the burden should be more on them about what they want. Of course they want their bill reduced. Everybody wants their bill reduced, but what is equity to them? You know, where does that line fall? Some of it we have no control over. I mean, we have to follow the ordinance. But a lot of times when there's gray area, I would like to not be putting words in their mouth, I guess, and just have a little bit more on them. But that also depends on having a process for the city staff to where that can all be explained ahead of time as to what that is. So I don't have an answer. I just wanted to leave it on the agenda until, you know, we can go through 54 and then it can be continually discussed and keep it a fact-finding body as much as possible. That's really where I was going with it. So
Yeah,
sorry for the long answer.
Yeah, so I think there's been a lot of comments on 54 that could adjust some of that, or maybe answer some of your questions. Of course, the AMI meter system was going to take care of a lot of these, in that we'll have the data no matter what, you know, when they ask for it or whatever. So I think it's going to be a big help in the future, and we've already seen some help already. So, okay, we'll just leave it like that to be discussed, and as ordinance 54 gets progressed.
Mr. Chair, could we be a little bit more specific and say that the ordinance 54 subcommittee will look at this and have some kind of recommendation for the
Sounds good
commission
to me.
next month?
Sounds good to me.
I just volunteer myself for work, I know, but that'll actually make me do it.
Well, so we can move on to the next item, which is update on Water Commission activities and projects. And the first one is ordinance 54. So we'll cover that update at the same time, and both we'll crank these in together, I guess.
Yes, sir, and that'll be really easy because for some reason the water department was very busy
Okay.
in the last month or so, and we didn't really have any progress on this.
Okay. Let's just make a note for the last one to go to 54. Okay.
One question I do have on this regarding both of these items is, it'd almost be interesting to me, and I don't, like to hear everybody's thoughts on it, if it makes sense or not, but we have no idea how this AMI is going to affect things. Things are going to change, I think, as we're going to get different types of requests or no requests whatsoever. Do we want to make any changes until we kind of get a better feel for how the new system's going to affect anything, or just keep them as is, or add with the changes?
Mr. Parsons, you have a
Yes,
comment
sir.
on that?
Yeah, yes, sir, I do. Yeah, that's a very good, astute point, and it's something that we've talked about and considered. Just to let you know that there are no more water leak adjustments pending in my file, and part of it's due because of the city council going chomp, everyone's getting a water leak adjustment in February. The other part is because the AMI system is notifying the customers in time, then they can get a hold of their leak. Most of the leaks that we are having are smaller. If they are bigger, they are being notified directly, and so they are taking care of it more quickly. So yes, it's something we need to see, but also it's still something we need to address because as we all know, things come up. So, but I agree, I'm very hopeful, as well as everyone else here, that the AMI system is a cure for that.
And I would just like to pile on that. I mean, not all customers have been switched to the AMI system yet, so we'll still need some procedures to work on some of this. But yes, we've talked about that many times, that hopefully we never have to worry about this again.
But even though the customers, how many customers have been or signed up already on the app?
We have over 25%
25%? Okay.
of our customers that are signed up on the customer portal. So
But
they
even
can,
though, we have 75% that haven't, so if they have a leak, the water department gets the notification and is following up and notifying them. So for now, we have that process.
yeah, so with that, our customer portal is great, and it gives our customers a lot of information, and they can set a lot of their own alarms. But regardless of that, we still get the data and information and alarms, and if we have those, it still comes to us, and we can still send out individuals to go look. We can still notify customers. Even if they haven't signed up, we can still notify customers. We are trying right now to get a great contact list for everyone. That's our next step, one of our next steps in getting this to where we're going to get everything reduced down.
So anyway, I know we're talking about the AMI system, but all this is going to be cranked into Ordinance 54 is what I'm getting to. The leaks, how we address notification, things like that will be I would like to see them in Ordinance 54, I think. Okay? Thank you. So moving on to 5C5, small Roman number 2, discuss and make possible recommendations on future meetings regarding Water Commission activities and projects. In your packet, and I apologize for being kind of not very dark. I didn't realize I didn't put it in black. I had it on gray, for example, for some reason. Anyway, this is a possible list of possible projects for 2021. And first of all, this is my thoughts, okay? And after tonight, they may not mean much to y'all, but okay, but I hope that you will consider these. Therefore, I'm suggesting we table the discussion on these items till next month, after the new chair and new commissioners are hopefully filled in place of the vacancies, to go over the list and make possible assignments in. Sound okay with everybody? So look through the list for future. There's some thoughts I had. I think I brought some of these up last time. Now I'll cover it later again. Let's just hold off on that. Okay, so we'll just hold off on that one till next month. So now moving on to 5C6, Ordinance 210. And the first item for discussion is discuss and accept the resignation of Commissioner Valdez. So my resignation. With mixed feelings, I'm announcing my resignation from the City Water Commission. I will say that I really enjoyed being part of the commission for the past 2.5 years, as well as being your chairman for the last year and a half. I want to thank each one of y'all though, and city staff for all the help y'all given me to make this possible. So, I know I've been a burden to many of the city staff. But anyway, thank you for all. But I'm not going very far. I decided that it was a good time to try something new, and or at least I thought back in January it was. But anyway, I filed to run for Alderman Place 3 on City Council. As it turns out, I'm running unopposed, and I've been declared elected according to the sample ballot. So it won't be official till City Council canvasses the votes on May 10th. But since we had no more candidates available to be interviewed tonight, I thought it'd be a good time to make my resignation effective at the end of this month so that everybody can move on. So I guess I'll leave it up to y'all for any discussions. Okay, and I won't be leaving y'all totally. Since I am still here, I'm available as the third person on a subcommittee since I don't affect the quorum. Okay? But, you know, so that's open to discussion as we go on. So.
Can we vote no?
Oh, no, but. Yes, you can, but. So. Anyway, get down, I need a motion to recommend to City Council.
Before we wrap up the discussion part, I just want to say how much I appreciate all the effort and time that, Mr. Chairman, that you have put into this commission, especially the time that you spent trying to figure out the rate process from water markets through now. I hope that you will be the third
I will have.
non-quorum member on that committee, because otherwise we're all going to be learning all over again.
I will be available to help, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Glad you're not going far, but hate to see you leave this. Thank you for everything.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Oh, you going to go ahead? Okay. Appreciate all your time, and yes, I will go ahead and make a motion to recommend to City Council to accept your resignation from the Water Commission.
I'll second that motion, regrettably.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Okay. So now it's great that we actually have some applications of candidates that are interested in joining the commission tonight. We had 3 people scheduled. I think only 2 are here, which is fine. This is to fill the vacancies for place 1, which was created by former Commissioner Bullard back in November. And of course, place 3, which is my position. Both of these places expire, terms expire September 30th of 2022. I think we have Mr. Agnes Beard, who actually applied back in 2019, but was unable to interview at the process at that time. So I'm glad you're able to make it tonight. And we also have Dan Stone with us this evening. So I think we have set up 2 microphones for talk. That way we can ask questions and both y'all can discuss at the same time or take turns. But stay, where you can. If you need to wear a mask, be sure you speak loud and clear so we can hear. But I'd first like to ask you to introduce yourself. Tell us about your work, your volunteer experience, and why you like to serve on this national award-winning City Council Commission, City Water Commission, I mean, and what do you bring to the table? So first, Mr. Beard, let you start since you applied last time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angus Greg Beard. I've lived in Garden Ridge, Regency Oaks for about 1.5 years now. My commitment to volunteerism has been throughout my life. In fact, when I was in the Army, I was actually awarded the Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal. The reason why I'm so passionate about the Water Commission is I'm actually somebody who's actually had to go through the leak adjustment process. And I felt that the staff understood my problem, that I wasn't ignored, I wasn't a statistic, that it was addressed, and I was happy with the results. I see how everyone came together during the, what do you call it, Snowmageddon of February. And everybody worked together to make sure that this community, that this city, this town had water. And water, as we know, is the lifeblood of any place where you live, any place where humans congregate. You have to have water. And this town did an outstanding job working together. And that's something that's really impressed me. And that's something I want to be a part of. That's about all I got to say on that part.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Don Stone. I've been here, God Range, since 2010. Recently, I just retired from the post office. I'm retired military, the Air Force. When the post office retired the post office, because of my work schedule, I wasn't able to actually work with any community or work any volunteer service. Now that I'm retired, now I want to give back to the community that's been so good to us. I come to the table, basically, I'm really good at contracts and really good with dealing with federal and state agencies, because that's what I deal with mostly. And so I have that expertise, for lack of better terms. Other than that, just, I enjoy the community, so I want to get back to it, and it's, whatever I can do to help.
I'm going to let the commissioners take turns asking questions, and like to alternate starting. That way nobody gets to start the first every time. So, yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but it is kind of difficult to hear you with the masks. You're more than welcome to, no, you don't have to take them off. But you're more than welcome to take the microphone out of the stand so it's closer to your mouth.
Okay. I like your option better.
I do believe you guys are 6 feet apart. I think it's a 6-foot table, so you're more than welcome to take it off.
Thank you. Okay. You want to start?
Well, I'll ask the question and then the chairman can decide, I guess, or you guys can decide who goes first. Yeah, of course, it's a volunteer commission, right? So it's not a huge demand in time. We have our meeting once a month, which requires a little bit of preparation. And then, as you heard tonight, there's usually a committee or a project assignment that goes there. So I just would like you to talk a little bit about how you see your ability to devote time into the effort. How much time do you believe you would have? So that's my question.
As far as me, I can devote as much time as necessary. I'm fully retired. I have nothing outstanding other than being a father that takes away my time. So I'm available pretty much all the time.
And as I said, I'm retired at the post office. I have a home business, but I make my own hours. So that's the reason why I need to get out and be more sociable. Working swing shift for 20 years, you don't meet a lot of people that you want to see during the daylight.
Well, I don't really have any questions. I have fantastic resumes, and I appreciate y'all for your military service. And this has been really a rewarding thing for me to be on this commission with these gentlemen here. So, thank you for considering.
Questions? Sure. Mr. Mueller, questions?
Commissioner Harshbarger actually took my good question. I was thinking about asking how many gallons are in an acre foot, but I won't ask you that. No, thank you for volunteering and appreciate it, but no questions.
Okay, well, I have several questions that I usually have typed up, so. Let's start with, I think you covered that. So what knowledge you all have of the Water Commission? Mr. Stone first.
Yeah. My knowledge is basically what I've been watching online on your past sessions,
Okay.
and the learning more about the rate adjustments, especially from tonight and from your past meetings.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Beard? And you said you were experienced with the leak adjustment already, so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm very familiar with the leak adjustment process. And I'm very grateful for it and the people behind it. As far as the rest of the goings-on with the Water Commission and the water company, I know just what's on the website. I haven't talked to anybody personally and directly about it, but hopefully that will change.
Sounds good. I do have one specific question for you is, what is I'm Lean Six Sigma, I'm a master black belt, but I've never heard of black belt, yellow belt. I've seen green belts, black belts, and master black belts, but wasn't familiar with that term.
The yellow belt of Lean Six Sigma is just like a basic introductory organization and management course. It's like a week long.
Week long?
Yes.
Okay. So, I think all the other questions have been answered in a way. Any further discussion?
I'm curious, because there's 3 in the packet. Did the other candidate withdraw, or?
No, she wasn't able to attend tonight.
Okay, but is she
She's,
still a candidate?
Yes. But wasn't able, yeah.
Will we continue this next meeting, or what's the path
No,
forward?
well, I'd like to go ahead and proceed with, what we have. You have basically 3 options. We have 2 openings. You can nominate both, 1 or none. But, I'd like to take action of some sort. So, just because we have 1 missing, and, this happened to Mr. Beard back in 2019. We had 3 commissioners at that time, 3 candidates at that time, only 2 attended. He wasn't able to attend. You were actually the one that was selected that day. So that's what happens when you have a good memory. But anyway,
That's what happens when you don't, when you show up.
you showed up and you got, yeah.
Oh.
Well, it was either show up or go to my wife's surgery, so I had to pick.
Yeah, he had a legitimate reason for not attending, so, but I mean, we still went on with the process that night. So that's what I'd like to do is this time, we have 2 candidates here, if you feel they both meet the, are eligible, I would just proceed with that. So we, probably want to handle them separately, since we have place 1 and place 3. We have 2 recommendations, or can we do it together? One at a time? Either way, so I leave it up to y'all how you want to handle it, Whatever y'all want to do. Do I have a motion? City council will make we'll recommend the city council and they make the appointment.
I recommend both candidates to forward on to city council for their approval.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? We have a recommendation and a second to recommend both Mr. Beard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Mr. Stone to serve on the Water Commission to recommend to City Council. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. And what happens is we'll forward this, to City Council next time, which will be what day is that? April 7th. Okay. That's what City Council and Water Commissioner will present. That'll be the presentation. And hope y'all can attend. That way you can be introduced at least during that time. Okay? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Okay. So now, move on to 5C6, Roman numeral 4. Receive recommendation and consideration for appointment of Water Commission Chair and Vice Chair if necessary for the term through October 2021. Of course, my resignation opens the chair position. So, like I said earlier, I vow to be available to whoever's appointed to help out wherever I can. And, any volunteers? Did I hear a raised hand over there?
Did I hear?
Yes, I would volunteer to be chair if Commissioner Harshberger is going to stick around, or if he wants to be chair. Either way, I would volunteer for vice chair or chair.
So as I told you gentlemen last time when this came up, I very much enjoy the opportunity to serve here, and while I would love to do it, and I am more than willing to be acting chair until as such time as a commission makes an appointment, my full-time employment means that I'm probably not the best choice for chairman. It's better to be the vice chair. So if you're willing, if Commissioner Mueller is willing to take that role, I'm more than willing to defer, and I am willing to remain vice chair if the commission so desires.
Yours won't be affected, so. Okay, I appreciate Commissioner Miller stepping up. Do we have a motion? He volunteered, so I don't know how to do a motion in a second. Do I get a motion to appoint Commissioner Miller chairman?
I enthusiastically move that the City Council appoint Commissioner Mueller as chair of the Water Commission.
Do I have a second?
I enthusiastically second.
All in favor? Opposed? Congratulations. And that's a done deal, because City Council does not need to approve who's appointed, so you're it.
Tag.
Okay? If you don't mind sticking around after the meeting to talk to these lovely ladies over here for what needs to be done between now and City Council.
Wait a minute, you're gonna be around for a month. You've got the next city council, right?
Y'all approved my resignation effective the end of the month.
Dang it, all right.
Yeah.
Can we amend?
I was slick on that one, wasn't I?
Can we amend that last action?
No, but you got 2 weeks, at least one, normally it's only a week, but at least we got 2 weeks in between.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Okay, we'll work it out. I'll help you. So 5C65 is discuss and make recommendations related to this ordinance on anything else. Any further discussion? Ordinance 210? Okay, I assume none. Future agenda items. Starting on my left. Commissioner Haldeman, any future agenda items? John Mike, no?
No, sir.
Any future agenda items? Mr. Miller?
Yes, I had one, wanted to add an agenda item to talk about the financial concerns from Winter Storm Uri.
Okay.
And I don't, if we could, I don't know how to exactly say this, but I was wondering if the financial costs are high, if we could, before the next meeting, look into national or state support for any of that, to offset any of the funding. I don't know if that's for the city manager could find that out, or if anybody else could find out if there's anything out there.
Okay,
Thanks.
we'll ask for that. Anything else? Commissioner Harrisburg? Nope, that's it, so only one item. Next commission meeting is April 27th, 2021 at 6 p.m. here in City Hall. And we do have two citizens, but does anybody want to speak at the next citizen, the open citizen comment period? Nope. Take that as a no, nobody moves. So we're on to number 7, which is adjournment. We complete all the agenda items, so do I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right?
Opposed? Wow. Meeting adjourned at 7:18. I thought this was gonna be a real long meeting. I appreciate everybody all did.
Man, sorry.